Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Brian and welcome back to what would have been 5 games, but today I'm going ahead and doing today I want to finish Katawa Shoujo because that's a game that I have been absolutely loving, and I just want to finish it so that way I can move on to just get it off the list and do something else. I'm moving some things around. So I recently just went ahead and signed up for like stream elements and stuff, which I don't think really matters to any of you, but it supposedly will help me go and do like overlay stuff like that, and so maybe next week I'll have some new overlays. But anyways, Katawa Shoujo. Let's finish it. Well, at least it would be nice. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm gonna say it's not showing up what's going on. Probably I had to click. Okay, doke. Alright, let's finish this. Alright, so Emmy recently went ahead and, basically told Hisao that she doesn't want to go any further. At least that's what he thinks anyways. I don't believe any of that for as far as I can throw it, but that's apparently the thought he's got. Now we're here at the nerd because they just did their morning run, blah, 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 blah. Any problems today? Nah, I even pushed a little harder today than I have in the past, and I seemed able to handle it. That's uncharacteristically risky coming from you, Hisao. You've been hanging out with Emmy too much. She's rubbed off on you, and not necessarily in a good way. At the mention of Emmy's name, I can't help but frown unhappily in spite of my efforts at control. Well now, this is new, don't you think? Last I checked, your usual response to Emmy's name was a grin, not a frown. What exactly happened between you two? Because Emmy doesn't seem to be in on it, whatever it is. She looked more relaxed than I've seen her in weeks, which is unusual for this time of the year. What do you mean by that? By what? For this time of year. I keep trying to find out what's been bothering her, but she clams up as soon as I broach the subject. Then last night, she said, let me guess, she won't tell you because she said she can't trust you. And now you're crushed because you thought that the two of you were so much more than she seems to think, right? More or less. How the heck did you know? Hisao, I'm the nerd. It's my job to know these things. Plus, I've known Emmy for long enough to know that she'd try to do something like this. It's just like her. He says this in the sort of half-affectionate, half-frustrated tone that would seem more appropriate if he had a cigarette dangling from his lips. As it is, he seems willing to make do with a pen. Look, mind if I give you some advice? Sure, why not? What was it Muto said yesterday? If you can't observe the thing, then observe what's around it. Worth a shot. The nurse knows Emmy better than I do, I'll wager. Sure, I'm open to suggestions. Honestly, kind of lost. I've got no idea how to deal with this. Never would have guessed. He grins while he says this. I think he's kidding. Look, here's the deal. Emmy is stubborn. I think we already gathered that much. You should know that by now. And if you don't, then you're pretty unobservant. But I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here. I'm so grateful. Anyway, if she decided that she doesn't want to talk about what happened, then she's not going to talk about what's happening. Has she said anything about what's been bothering her? Even a hint? Well, she did say she'd been having nightmares about the accident. Really? You're making progress then. That's good. Well, I guess I can fill you in on this without violating my strict non-interference policy when it comes to Emmy making stupid decisions. The anniversary of her accident is coming up soon. She got depressed around this time because it was a pretty traumatic event, considering what she's lost. That's the other thing. She acted like she lost more than just her legs. What happened? I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that her father died as well. Whoa, nope, not going there. You'll have to ask someone else about that, because that's a whole can of worms I'm not about to open. Emmy wants you to know. She'll tell you in her own time. Just gotta be patient, that's all. Why are you even helping me with all this? Because you're good for her. She trusts you, even if you don't think she does. And you've got the best chance out of anyone at this school right now to help her through this time of year. She won't accept my help, but she might accept yours, if you don't screw it up. So don't screw it up, got it? How do I not screw it up? I have my mouth to respond, but a knocking sound at the door interrupts me. Hey! You guys still in there? Just a moment, Emmy. Give us a second to get our pants back on. The door bursts open and Emmy glares knives at the nurse. Asshole! Didn't mean to get your hopes up. Hey, can we leave me out of this? Anyway, what's up, Emmy? Forget something? I tried to take a more cheerful tone with her. No need to upset her. Two can play the everything's fine game. Actually, I forgot to ask you something. Oh? What's that? Do you want to come with me on a trip to my house? My mom's making dinner and I thought you might want to join us. Well, of course, I accept. Emmy punches the nurse in the arm playfully. Not you, idiot. You were over last week. Talking to Hisao. Oh? How interesting. Meeting the parent? I'd love to go, Emmy. Thanks. The nurse raises an eyebrow but says nothing. Great. I'll be in my room. Swing by after your shower and change into something clean and we'll grab the bus. Sounds good. I'll see you in a bit. This time it's me who leans in for a quick kiss before darting off to my room. What an interesting development. Maybe we're getting closer after all. Maybe Emmy's finally ready to open up a little. I wouldn't get that excited, but... Or maybe she's being polite, and a free meal seems like a good way to apologize for last night. Great. Now I can decide whether to be excited, nervous, or depressed. I settle for a combination of all three and hop in the shower. Katawa Shoujo. I don't think I like riding on buses. Actually, I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that as a fact. They sway a lot, and they smell funny, and you can feel every bump on the road. I mean, it's a pretty big vehicle, so it's fair enough. I'm really not looking forward to this. They could actually make the suspension system on those things a little bit better. Plus, Emmy's legs keep making a clanking noise that draws the attention of everyone else on the bus. She's in shorts again, and she's got long saws drawn up on her prosthetics so they don't look so obviously fake again. But it doesn't stop the odd look or two every time her legs bump together with an audible clunk. I shift nervously in my seat, and Emmy raises an eyebrow questioningly. She doesn't seem to mind the stares. Either that, she just doesn't even notice that people are staring. I'm sure she's gotten her full of odd looks before. After a certain amount of time, I doubt she'd notice anymore. Not that she'd ever tell me if I asked. Another fact that is, I'm just uncomfortable about the bus. I'm not just uncomfortable about the bus. I can't seem to come to terms with the fact that Emmy appears to be trying to bring me closer while at the same time pushing me away. The nurse says she trusts me, even if it doesn't look like it. But I'm not sure I can trust a nurse. I mean, it's always fair. I mean, you shouldn't trust nurses or doctors with everything. He's protective of Emmy, just like I'm protective of Emmy. And I'd be likely to say something to make her look good if someone asked me about her. So he might just be doing that. Still, there was something about the way he seemed genuinely surprised that Emmy invited me along. Maybe last night's talk helped more than I think, but I'm still worried. Meeting the parents is a big deal, right? No, sir. It wasn't parents. It was parent, meaning singular. If you, he obviously wasn't paying attention to that. Not that I haven't already met Emmy's mother, but that was just as an acquaintance. Now it's going to be Emmy's boyfriend, with everything that implies. I can feel my heart pounding in my chest, an echo of that snow-covered afternoon that feels like it was so long ago that it might as well be another life entirely. Except then, I didn't know what was going on. I also didn't have medication to help prevent things spiraling out of control. I've come a long way in terms of my physical health, and for the second time today, I feel like I'll be able to live normally now, or at least as normally as possible. Now, if only I could manage my relationship as well as I manage my heart, I'd be in a great shape. Well, we're here. Emmy grabs my hand as soon as we've stepped off the bus. She starts heading down the street almost immediately. Come on, we've got a couple blocks until my place. What? Oh, okay. I follow Emmy down the street, watching her confident stride. She's setting kind of a quick pace for just a walk. I guess she's anxious to get there. So does your mom do this sort of thing often? Nah, not too frequently. Mom's never been much for playing hostess. Oh yeah? Yeah, my dad was always the one pushing her to have people over. Dad was. This sudden and unprompted reference to her father catches me off guard. And from the look on Emmy's face, I'm not sure she meant to mention him. I think I've only heard her talk about him once. All I remember is that Emmy's mom told me that he wasn't around anymore. Ah, he does remember that. Okay, good. Oh, your mom prefers solitude? Emmy laughs, either from relief that I didn't ask about her father or from finding my statement actually funny. Not at all. She's why I'm such an outgoing person, you know? She just prefers to be a guest rather than a hostess. It's less stressful that way, or so she says. I agree. I would rather be the one at the party than the one throwing the party. Because that means I gotta clean everything up, and I'm too damn lazy for that. Clearly, she's never had to meet her girlfriend's mother for dinner. Emmy giggles again and speaks in a teasing tone. Nervous, Sal? You shouldn't be, you know? It's not that big a deal. It's dinner at my house, that's all. Yeah, but have you ever brought you home a boyfriend before? I confess that part of me dreads hearing the answer to this. I know very little of Emmy's past relationships. I don't even know if there were past relationships. No, I guess I haven't. Hey, maybe this really is kind of a big deal after all. Oh good, now I feel twice as nervous. Thanks, Emmy. Though to tell the truth, I'm pretty happy to hear that I'm the first one. Maybe we've got something special after all. Bolstered by this new thought, I managed to calm down considerably by the time Emmy knocks on her front door. Hey Mom, open up! We're here! The door swings open and Mrs. Ibarazaki stands grinning at her daughter. The grin is still surprisingly similar to Emmy's. I'm never going to get used to that. Yep, you can see the resemblance between the two of them. You know, people normally wait a few minutes before they start shouting at the door. And most mothers say hello to their daughters instead of scolding them right away. Of course. Welcome home, dear. I missed you. An affectionate hug later, we're inside, and it is only then that Emmy's mom seems to remember that I'm actually here. And hello to you, Hisao. How are you? I'm quite well, thank you. Nice to not have school to worry about for a little bit. Ah, yes. You finished up your exams, haven't you? That must be quite a relief for you both. It's certainly a weight off my mind, that's for sure. Me too. Mine too. I think I slept well for the first time in weeks last night from relief alone. If this news is a surprise to Emmy's mother, she doesn't show it. Still, her response betrays a note of interest. Is that so? Very glad to hear that, Emmy. I know I get worried when you get all wound up about, well, exams. Certainly Emmy's mother knows something I don't. Rather, she doesn't know that Emmy's told me about her nightmares. It's interesting being able to observe how Miss Ibarazaki covers for Emmy. That protective instinct to make sure that I don't know any more than Emmy's willing to tell me. suppose Emmy's got more in common with Quarks than I ever realized. Moves around fast, impossible to understand, though direct observation. Yet she has an effect on everyone she encounters. I wonder if Mrs. Ibarazaki will figure out that I know about the nightmares, or is she just keeping everything secret from everybody? Yeah, it's not been as bad this year as in the past. It's now helped me to stay focused. Okay, I know that's not true. She even cut off contact outside of school hours during exam week. But she did see me during the day. She told me more than once that the morning run was the only thing she looked forward to during exams. So maybe it's not that much of a lie. Either way, to hear that being around has helped even a little makes me feel a bit better. Emmy's mother raised an eyebrow at this statement. Either she doesn't believe Emmy or she's as surprised as I am. Well, then it appears that it's a good thing you two have become so close. I tell you to take good care of my daughter, Sal, but it looks like you're already doing that. Emmy grins at this and seems to take pride in having managed to ingratiate myself with her mother so easily. Actually, I'd say her daughter's been the one taking care of me. She's gotten me out and running. I've probably been more active since meeting her than I ever was even before. I'd actually never thought of it that much, nor had I ever appreciated the humor in it. I wasn't too active before the heart attack. Pickup games of soccer don't really count since they weren't that common. So now that I know for sure that I have a weak heart, now I run every day, pushing my luck with the help of my medication. I chuckled quietly, then realized that I never finished my sentence. Well, before I had my heart attack and wound up at school here. Because of so casually, there was a time that I would have thought twice about talking about what was wrong with me at all. But now it just seems silly to care, especially in the company of Emmy and her mother. If Emmy can be cavalier about her disability, then so can I. Think back to the track meet where Emmy declared herself the fastest thing on no legs. The fact of her obvious loss has never seemed to bother her, at least not in public. Being stuck in the wheelchair frustrated her, I know, but even that was something she dealt with on her own, despite my efforts to the contrary. Emmy has a way of bringing out the more active side in people. I've never quite figured out how she does it. Those puppy dog eyes she gets, for starters. I'm not surprised she managed to rope you into an exercise routine. If Frame weren't just as stubborn as she is, I'm sure that Emmy would have gotten her out and running with you too. Oh, that reminds me, Rin says hello. I drift through the outer edges of the conversation again as we move into the dining room to eat. Oh, it's so dark. It smells delicious in here, and the spread that Emmy's mom has produces immense impressive. Whoa, you've made enough to feed an army in here. Is it too much? Well, you can always take some leftovers with you when you go. Sounds great. I can only handle cafeteria food for so long. Something home cooked would be a welcome change of pace. What he said. Thanks, Mom. The food tastes as good as it smells, and there's a lull in the conversation while we all dig in. Emmy assaults her plate with the usual amount of gusto. I will admit that I set a pretty fast pace myself. So has Sal. I hear that you and my daughter have gotten rather close, The urge to say something like, not really, is so strong that I open my mouth to say it, but then reassert control. We are close, there's no getting around it. Emmy's brought me here, hasn't she? Fortunately, both Emmy and her mother seem to take my reaction as a sign that I'm actually caught off guard rather than considering saying something cruel. I suppose we have. I blame the morning runs myself. Make it sound like a bad thing, Sal. Well, I, for one, found it a relief. Why is that? Emmy's always been a popular girl, but never made many close friends. This is a bit of news to me. I've always seen Emmy chatting with her classmates in the hallways. And certainly the whole track seems to love her. But it is true that she chooses to isolate herself during lunch with Rin and me. Not exactly the sort of behavior one expects from such a popular girl, after all. And then again, I've experienced her unwillingness to get close firsthand, so I can't say I'm not surprised. I was beginning to have my doubts. Emmy rolls her eyes at the ceiling and grumbles something I can't quite make out. Huh? What? What's that you just said? Nothing. Mrs. Iburazaki chokes on her drink with laughter. You've been hanging out with a nurse too long, Emmy. I'm going to have to talk to him about corrupting my daughter. Somehow I don't think that would be very effective. There's that look again. That scary look. I learned most of it from you anyway, not the nurse. Don't listen to her, Sal. She's a born liar. Yeah, right. Oh, I don't know, Emmy. I think your mother has a point. What? You traitor! You're supposed to take my side in this. Yeah, but you didn't lie about it. Ow! A kick in the shin from an unmistakably plastic foot cuts me off, but not before Mrs. Ibarazaki's eyebrows shoot upwards. What about your leg? It wasn't a big deal, that's all. I was just, in a wheelchair for a bit. The last few mumbled words are quickly deciphered by Emmy's mother. I suspect she has experience with this sort of thing, and a worried frown appears on her face. So that's why he kept dodging my calls. Oh, Emmy, I know how much you hate being in a wheelchair. No wonder you've been in such a mood lately. Yeah, she's much happier on her feet, so to speak. Well, of course, she spent enough time in a chair just after the accident. She didn't get prosthetics immediately? No, she had to finish healing up before they let her start the sort of therapy you've got to go through to adjust to those things. Especially since she wanted to run on them. I had no idea. Yeah, it sucked. Oh, did you see Rin's mural at the festival? Emmy's sudden change of topic makes me realize, belatedly, that she's been fidgeting the whole time her mother and I have been talking. I should have figured on her being a little skittish when it comes to talking about the accident, even around her mother. No, I didn't make it out to the festival, remember? Although I caught a glimpse of it at your track meet, seemed pretty weird to me. I think that's more or less what she was going for. She talked a lot about it being dreamlike, or trying to make it dreamlike. Rin's art is one of those things I don't think I'll ever understand. That's not surprising. I don't think Rin expects to be understood. She told me once that art allows people to understand stuff they wouldn't understand otherwise, but all the same, she doesn't think it actually works that way. I'm surprised that Emmy's talked about this with Rin extensively enough to actually have Rin's opinion, such as it is. Although I expect that Rin could not, if she were so inclined to say the same thing about Emmy's. Unless, of course, Emmy is purposely keeping me in the dark about everything, which is likely but unpleasant to think about. I drift down this unpleasant train of thought for a while, losing track of the conversation. Hey, Emmy, I've been meaning to ask. Huh? Are you going to visit your father this year? From the way she says it, you'd think Emmy's mother was talking about the weather. From the way Emmy reacts, it's clearly not the weather they're talking about. She flinches, a slight jerk of the head backwards as if she's just been slapped in the face. Can we talk about this later? Her voice sounds brittle, strained. It looks as if she's been severely shaken by the question. It seems that Mrs. Ibarazaki misjudged about how close Emmy and I are. Some things, it seems, are best not conversed with me around. Her father is one of these things. The accident that took her legs is probably another one of those things, if her reaction to the earlier conversation between her mother and myself is any indication. It doesn't take Emmy's mother long to realize she's screwed up. Of course we can, dear. I'm sorry to bring it up. Just wanted to ask so I can make plans. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Emmy fidgets nervously, as if embarrassed by her own reaction. I confess that her reaction is confusing. She only just mentioned her father to me earlier today, less than a few hours ago even. What is a simple question about when she'll visit her father cause such a strong reaction? Let me think here. I have a feeling that Emmy may have been doing something stupid in the car, or maybe that's not the case. Maybe her father was distracted by something, and they went to oncoming traffic or something or another, and they got into an accident. And somehow Emmy thinks it's her fault that the accident happened and that she lost her father. Unless whatever serenity she claimed to have reached by means of our talk the previous evening has suddenly evaporated. Or it didn't have as much as she thought or claimed. I'll be right back. Gotta visit the little girl's room. Emmy gets up suddenly and leaves the table, leaving me and Mrs. Ibarazaki alone. I'm a little conflicted. Should I go after her or should I stay here? Listen, you don't go follow her into the bathroom. What's wrong with you, boy? It's obvious that Emmy's departure was not based on the call of nature. Something's bothered her, and I have to know what it is. How to go about it? Well, somehow I feel like talking to her mom would kind of be. Huh. This is one of those moments. I feel like I'm getting rather critical. Let's go after her first. If we don't like what we get, we can talk to her mom later. The only way to find out is to go to the source, and the source is currently pretending that she has to use the toilet. I excused myself politely from the table and head that way, only to catch sight of Emmy not in the bathroom, but in the kitchen just next to the living room. Emmy has the door open, as I approach, I can see that she's holding onto the table in an attempt to compose herself, an effort that fails as soon as I open my mouth. Doesn't look like nature's call was that urgent. Emmy jumps and glares at me. What are you doing here? I didn't come here to be with other people. Just wanted to help you. You looked rather pretty rattled. I said it was nothing, didn't I? And besides, I thought we established that you can't help me. No, we've established that you're stubborn. Look who's talking, the guy who followed me. This is different. I want to help you with whatever this is. Funny, because I just want you to leave me alone. But why? Why can't you just trust me? Been over this already, Sal. I've got to deal with this stuff on my own. I won't accept that. You need my help, and you just won't take it. The wording seems to have been a little off. Need? I need your help? Well, it's a good thing we met, isn't it? Because otherwise, I guess I'd just be a broken human being, wouldn't I? No, it's a damn good thing that Asao came along to save the day, isn't it? Because God knows I can't save myself, can I? Ooh, I feel like I went the wrong way with that one. I'm just a poor, emotionally damaged girl with no legs, right? I mean, you know I don't think that. Really? Because if you thought differently, then I don't think you'd be here saying I need your help. I've gotten pretty far. Okay, I don't like this one. We're going somewhere else. I do not like this. But maybe. There's an awkward silence at the table for a while after Emmy dashes off. I can't think of anything to say. Emmy's mother sighs, breaking the silence. Sorry about that, Asao. I sometimes forget that Emmy's touchy about certain subjects. And I was talking about the wheelchair thing, too. Should I go after her? Heavens, no. She'll leave the table to continue the conversation, you know. But if she's troubled, shouldn't someone help her? If there were anyone else, I'd say yes. But my daughter is stubborn as a mule, and if she wants to be alone, it's best to let her be alone. Otherwise, she'll probably say something she'd regret, which would cause you to say something you'd regret, and I would prefer that dinner doesn't end with one or the both of you storming out of the house. If that were to happen, I'd be a terrible hostess, wouldn't I? Already acted as a fool once today. That's okay. I shouldn't have brought the wheelchair up, apparently. Mrs. Ibarazaki frowns, clearly more bothered by Emmy's omission than she'd let on. I wish she wouldn't do that. It just makes me worry more, you know? She does this often? What, running off to the bathroom? No, I can't say she does. Keep injuries from her mother, though? Well, that's a little more common. Every time I catch her lying like that, she assures me that the only reason she didn't tell me is because it wasn't a big deal. If it's any consolation, I'm sure the only reason I knew about all this is because I saw her every day. This elicits a dry chuckle from across the table. Mrs. Ibarazaki sighs a little sadly. So that's about getting close to people, huh? I keep hoping that she'll get over that. It's funny though. She's bounced back so well from the accident in so many ways. I guess some things never really go away. From the looks of it, the whole thing still bothers her too. She seems to be a little more willing to talk about the accident without Emmy around though. Hey, I've got a question if it's alright. Oh? What else did Emmy lose in that accident? The nurse said that she gets this way near the anniversary and she won't talk about it to me. So you thought I'd fill you in, yeah. Hopefully. Well, there's a problem with that request, you know. Let me guess. You promised Emmy that you wouldn't tell anyone she didn't want to know, and you didn't know she wants me to know. Something like that. I promised Emmy that she'd be the one to tell people the full story. But isn't that important? I mean, it's clearly had a huge effect on her if she's still like this so long after the accident happened. That's true. It did have a long-lasting effect on her. There are a few things that she'll probably never really get over. For a moment, Mrs. Ibarazaki looks incredibly saddened, as if an old wound is bothering her. Suppose there are a few things I would never really get over either. With a dry chuckle and with a shake of her head, Emmy's mother banishes the memory. Look, there is something you absolutely must understand about the way Emmy thinks about the accident. What's that? It wasn't a big deal. Somehow I managed to keep my mouth from falling open in surprise, but it takes some effort. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I beg your pardon? Okay, maybe it's not that simple, but it's a pretty accurate summation. Emmy believes the accident did not define her, and that everything she lost that day didn't define her either. She's not that girl who lost her legs. She's the fastest thing on no legs. Her optimism and energy came out of that wreck without a scratch as far as she's concerned. Yet it goes beyond that, doesn't it? I mean, last night she told me that she refused to allow me because it would make losing me too painful. Not really. You said she wouldn't tell you about the accident, even though you've asked her about it before. The reason she won't talk about it when you ask is because to her it's not something you absolutely need to know. Even if she wasn't terrified of getting too close to anyone, she still wouldn't talk about it. She's afraid of being close to me. Oh goodness me, yes. For all that talk about being unscathed by the accident, she's gained the ugly knowledge of how quickly it can all be over. She's not going to let people get especially close to her, and she certainly wouldn't resent my implication that she cannot work through this on her own. Any implication. But I don't think she can. Oh no. Oh no? Are you sure you've been dating my daughter and not somebody else? Trust me, Isao. She could get through it on her own. But she has nightmares and can't sleep well, and she does this every year. Tell me, if she wasn't able to get through it on her own, do you really think she'd still be alive? She would have killed herself, or something equally melodramatic. So what? I shouldn't try to help her? I didn't say that. I hate seeing my daughter like this, and knowing that she could rely on someone else would let me relax. You just need to understand that accepting help goes against everything Emmy thinks about herself and the way the world works. If you still want to offer her help, then I guess it's your call. Honestly, I'd like you to. But I'd be silly not to warn you that it's not going to be easy. You just need to be patient with her. She's already closer to you than anyone else she's ever met at Yamaku. Well, it sure doesn't feel like we're very close. Good. That makes this part easier. Emmy's voice nearly gives me a heart attack. Yeah. Whoa! Didn't hear you come back, Emmy. How convenient. What, were you eavesdropping? Nope, just happened to come back at the right moment, I guess. Emmy, Hisao was just... Emmy holds up a finger, cutting her mother off. On his way out of the house? Yeah, I know. Emmy's trembling with anger now, looking vaguely betrayed. Okay. Emmy, don't be ridiculous. We were just... You promised! The pain carried in that last word is almost too much for me to bear. The idea that I could hurt her that much is like being kicked in the gut. Emmy's mother looked similarly pained by the thought. And I kept that promise. Just listen. There's no reason to go throwing people out of the house. Emmy's mother seems to be both angry at her daughter's outburst and embarrassed that I'm witness to it. There's only one real solution to this problem, I think. It's okay. I'll go. Now really, that seems a little unnecessary. Don't worry about it. Thank you for dinner, Mr. Barazaki, and for the advice. It was my pleasure, Sal. I'm sorry we didn't get to the dessert. That's okay, I have to watch what I eat anyway. Good evening, Emmy, Mrs. Ibarazaki. The formality of our conversation, coupled with the fact that I'm getting ready to leave, seems to snap Emmy out of her anger. No, wait. I'm sorry. I've been so... After last night, I just thought, you don't have to go. I take it back. It's okay. I can't help but smile slightly. She can barely articulate her apology, and I really would like to stay. I don't think I can right now. I need to think about what her mother said, and about what I'm going to do about us. I don't want to risk accidentally getting Emmy angry again in her current state either. No, I think I'd better leave. You seem pretty shook up, and, well, only wind up trying to help you again. I know you prefer I didn't, so I'm going to leave instead. But, hey, it's not a problem. You don't want a night on a white charger, right? Just promise me one thing, okay? What? Don't be angry at your mom, okay? She was just giving me some advice, that's all. Emmy nods hesitantly, like this simple idea is all she can grab onto at this point. She's so terribly off balance, but I can't do anything about that right now. Okay. See you tomorrow, okay? Ring in the morning. Don't forget. You see that I've hurt Emmy by deciding to leave. There's nothing I can do for her as this thing stands. And I know she's too stubborn to admit that she wants me to stick around. I watch various emotions cross Emmy's face as she tries to process everything that's just happened. Shortly comes that calm look again, like last night, and that voice that she tries so hard to sound careless. Sure, Sal. See you around. Both of us aren't willing to concede emotion at this point. I'm having a hard time keeping up my facade, so I turn on my heel and walk out the door. I shut it behind me slowly, pausing for a moment to catch latches, my hand on the doorknob. Did I make the right decision just now? Should I have stayed and tried to work things out? No, I decided. Create new save state. Thank you very much. Now I kinda wanna see this other one. Just because I'm curious where we'll go. I am very curious. Ba-da-ba-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Just no legs. Really? Because if you thought differently, then I don't think you'd be here saying I need your help. I've gotten pretty far in life as a normal human being without you. So what? Nothing we've shared was important? Just a guy who hangs out with you? You're my boyfriend, Hisao, not my savior. Well, no, that much is obvious. You won't even consider that I could be a help to you, will you? You just bottle it all up and hope that a run will solve your problems, or you'll come visit me and we'll fool around till you feel better. That's not being a healthy human being, Emmy. That's not what a relationship means. Well, that's what it means to me right now, Hisao. I wish... She seems to reconsider her words just then. A flicker of pain, of doubt on her face. For a moment, I think she's about to cry. But the moment passes, and now she's composed herself again. Whatever that wish was will have to go unspoken. Look, I can't do this right now. What, have a serious conversation? Be open? Be honest? Give a damn about anyone besides yourself and your problems? What do you know about my problems? Nothing. You don't know what I've been through, so you don't have to pretend. So don't pretend that you do. know you have nightmares, and I know your father's gone. What happened to him? Emmy's head jerks backward as if I've just slapped her. That brittle quality has gotten back into her voice. That's enough. This is stupid. The whole conversation has just been variations on Emmy stonewalling me. What, you won't even answer that question? Fine. Keep your secrets. They can lie in the grave as far as I'm concerned. Emmy's eyes widen in shock. She speaks again. It's in a low voice that is low, dangerous. Get out of my house, Isao. The sudden change in her tone snaps me out of my self-righteous anger and makes me realize with a dawning horror what I've just said. Emmy, I didn't mean... I said go, Isao. Tell my mother she cooked a wonderful meal, but you've forgotten a prior engagement, and get out of my house. She's trembling now, shaking with anger, or sadness, or determination. Her voice is still low, controlled, almost a growl. I reach out to put an arm on her shoulder to apologize for going too far, but she jerks away from my touch. Get out. Yeah, that seems more detrimental than I actually thought it was going to be. But, I mean, we still got kicked out of the house regardless. It doesn't matter. Only I think we left on a bit of a lighter note that time than we did this time around. But I'm sticking with this one. No, I decide. Not in front of her mother like that. In spite of everything, I'd rather keep Emmy's mother insulated from the sort of anger that surfaced last night. Even though she's probably used to it, some protective instincts want me to keep Emmy's image as a cheerful girl intact. With a start, I realize my hand is still resting on the knob. I take my hand away, put it in my pocket, and head down the slowly darkening street. I let out a long breath. The wait until tomorrow morning comes isn't going to be easy. In any case, I have to think on what to say to Emmy. I must apologize, and I must get through to her somehow. On that account, something has been on my mind for most of the way back to my room. A letter of apology from Iwanako. I was so concerned about my new life when I received it that I didn't even bother to really read it. Now that I find myself in a similar position, my curiosity got rekindled. What does she want to let me know so badly? If nothing else, reading her thoughts might help me frame mine. I remember tossing it away. Damn, where did I throw that thing? Check under my desk, that turns up nothing, so I look for harder to reach, more unlikely locations. Well, now I know where that last sock went at least. Still no letter though. When I try sweeping my arm under my nightstand, that I feel something crinkly jammed between it and the wall. Grunting a little with effort, I reach for my prize and soon manage to bring it into the light. Bingo. I sit at my desk and spread the crumpled paper open. A flick turns on the table light. Skimming past the empty pleasantries, I look for the point where I stopped reading. Ah, here it is. There are other things I want to say. I'm writing to you because I felt that there are things I should have said after the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. The truth is, the times when I visited you at the hospital made me worried about you. I'm not talking about your health. You seem to be more distant and disheartened. It was natural after something like that happened. I'm sure. But somehow I got the feeling that you had given up on something back then. Happiness, maybe? Giving up on happiness? This sounds unpleasantly familiar. I wanted to somehow express my feelings, but the right words didn't come to me. I couldn't say anything to comfort you. I'm really sorry for not being able to support you when it mattered the most, even though I like you so much. At least now, finally, I can be more honest. If I could go back to those quiet days in February and March, I'd tell you to not give up on yourself. That's what I would say. Maybe you wouldn't have drifted so far away if I had just said something. I hope you've managed to get back on your feet on your own. Now the distance between us is also physical, it also feels more final somehow. I wonder if we will meet again. Perhaps it's for the best if we don't. Still, if you would like to correspond with me, by all means, write me back. But I'd very much like to hear about your new school and how you are going, how you are doing. Wish you all the best. Sincerely, Iwanako. After finishing the letter, I smoothed it out carefully and set it aside on my desk. Thank you, Iwanako. I wanted to answer yes to your question on that snowy white winter day, but I never got to. By the time we met again, it was too late. Or so I thought. What would have happened if I had behaved differently back in that dismally sterile hospital room? I'm sorry. There's no point in wondering now. There's no point in trying to forget either. I am who I am because of all that happened to me, and all I look forward to experience, present, future, and past. And the past may just have taught me an important lesson now. Act 4. Motion. The sound of my alarm is an unwelcome intrusion on a sleep. That's been a battle to obtain. I doubt I've been truly asleep for more than an hour or two. Too much on my mind. Did I make the right choice to you in the house yesterday? Did I manage to get Emily to realize how unreasonable she's been? Probably not. Am I ever going to get her to stop being unreasonable? Emily's mom gave me a new perspective the other day, but I'm still not sure that is the right perspective. It's better than the one that we saw on the other route. She was hurt when I left yesterday, too. I know that part of any conversation is going to have to include an apology about that. Right thing to do or not, I heard her. I hurried down to the track, eager to talk to Emmy. I think I know what to say. Apologize for leaving first and go ahead from there. Unless, of course, Emmy doesn't show up. Which, from the looks it seems like it's the case. It's been about 15 minutes since I got here, and there's still no sign of her. She's never late, not unless she's sick, which is unlikely. She probably doesn't want to see me right now. Take my mind off what that implies, I begin my warm-up routine and take off around the track. It clears my mind wonderfully. For the half hour I'm running, I don't think about anything but the run. However, once I've finished and Emmy still hasn't shown up, I get a little worried. With any luck, the nurse will know where she is, if nothing else. I can see what he thinks I should do next. So last night didn't go too well, I take it. Huh? You already know? I have my ways. And it's not as if I missed a distinct absence of your running partner this morning, now would I? No, I suppose not. So what happened? Don't you know already? Maybe, but I could be bluffing. Perhaps I'd rather get your side of the story before I give any advice. Quickly fill the nurse in on the events of last night, and he takes it all in without changing expression once. Nothing about the whole event seems to surprise him, although he does seem surprised when I say that I didn't follow Emmy. Should have talked to your mom instead, huh? Smart move. Though I guess it didn't work out too well for you in the end. Well, I'm not sure. Emmy seemed apologetic when I left, or at least she seemed that way until she put up her defenses again. The nurse sighs and spreads his arm and hands in a consolatory gesture. Frankly, I'm surprised she let them down at all. She's had a lot of practice on that score. She probably won't get anything else out of her. I don't believe you. Is that so? Do you think she'll tell you the whole tale? I swear I just saw the nurse's eyes glitter a little. His expression is the same, but he leans forward ever so slightly. I think she'll open up if I ask her about an idiot. Without being an idiot about it, yeah. The nurse gives his enigmatic smile in response and shrugs widely. I think he's enjoying his role a little too much. That's the real trick, isn't it? Are you sure you know the right way to approach the subject? I guarantee that Emmy's going to try her hardest to pretend last night didn't happen. It will be painfully awkward for the both of you, but it'll also be a lot safer than trying to ask her for the whole story again. It could go worse this time. Are you ready for something like that? It sounds like a challenge, like he doesn't believe me for a minute. Believe for a minute that I'd be so bold. I actually feel a little insulted by his lack of confidence in me. Of course I'm ready for that. I love her. My outburst gets a raised eyebrow in response. Well then. Good luck. Let me know how it all turns out. Although he delivers his parting shot with the same smirk as usual, I actually think that the nurse wants me to succeed. I resist the urge to charge directly to Emmy's room to prove the nurse wrong. I've gone half-cocked before, and the results were less than stellar. If I'm going to do this, I need to figure out exactly what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. Something to think about in class. Sure enough, by the time lunch rolls around, I think I have a good enough idea of what to say. I can do this. As long as you don't have to make me make the choices, then I guess I think we might be okay. The bell rings, and I grab my lunch and dash up the stairs, eager to be there first. I'll need aspirin to leave, and I'll need to... Hi, Sal. Sorry I wasn't able to run with you this morning. I overslept. Somehow both Emmy and Rinda managed to get to the roof before me. Damn it! Oh, that's no problem. Last night was kind of draining, I guess. Emmy's expression doesn't alter in the slightest. Yeah, sorry about that, but I've had a weird morning since then. Oh, really? Emmy proceeds to make small talk for the rest of the time. I can barely get a word in edgewise, and soon find myself interjecting with the sort of back and forth dialogue that seems to have defined our early relationship. I'm not going to get anywhere on this problem during lunch, obviously. I can respect that. Emmy doesn't want to accidentally pull Rin into things, and that's fine. Not that I think Rin would notice, but I can at least respect that sort of rationale. I try a different tactic. Hey, Emmy, what are you up to after class today? I was thinking we could go somewhere for dinner or something. Emmy looks genuinely remorseful. Sorry, Esau. I promised the track captain that I'd stick around after practice and help some of the other kids with their form. It'll have to be another time. Yeah, sure. I'm honestly not sure what to do now. Maybe diving into things the day after would be a bad idea anyway. She might still be angry about it and just not showing it. Besides, she's got track team responsibilities, that's fine, right? I tell myself some variation on this thing the next day. Then the next, I wake up, run with Emmy, during which she refuses to talk about anything but the run and what she was doing the night before, and then lunch, where we said make small talk until the bell rings. Her new responsibilities effectively keep me from seeing her outside of school. Maybe, just maybe, I'm letting it happen because it's safer this way, just like the nurse said. Except while it may be safer, I'm feeling more and more wretched. Emmy doesn't look good when I see her anymore. Dark circles look under her eyes. She seems more and more distracted, and I can't bring myself to ask what's wrong. Because the timing never seems right. I'm absolutely miserable. Was that the right decision? Katawa Shoujo. Another bunch of trums. I trudge up the stairs of the rooftop like a condemned man. Renee's up there, but Emmy is not. Immediately I worry that something's happened to her. Maybe the lack of sleep finally made her collapse or something worse. She seemed pretty tired after our morning run. Maybe she fell asleep and didn't even make it to class. Hey, Rin, where's Emmy? In response, I get a rather penetrating look from Rin, and something approaching to a frown appears on her face. Is that information really important? I think so. She's usually here with you, isn't she? I don't know. I have no way of being sure. I can confirm that she is, in fact, usually here with you when I come up. Well, she isn't now. Does that worry you? Kind of. That seems to end the conversation. The point becomes moot because Emmy bounced through the door with her usual energy. Sal's kind of worried about you, Emmy. I don't think he can decide. Or maybe I just don't believe him. But I think I'm going to go somewhere less awkward now. I'm so surprised by Rin's being so suddenly forward about, well, anything at all that I merely watch her head through the door. Emmy is similarly surprised, but colors slightly crimson as she stares open-mouthed at me. It occurs to me that I should probably say something, if only to break the awkward silence that she has suddenly descended. It's because you weren't here yet. I was, worried about it. Why? You're usually here, so I was worried that something happened to you. This isn't the first time I've been late, you know. Did you get worried all the other times, too? Not really. Emmy seems slightly amused by this. I don't know why, but she kind of pisses me off. So why was this time an exception? Maybe it's the light, teasing tone of the question, but something in her response pushes me to be honest. Though I can't help snapping at her when I say it. Because you've been worrying me since dinner at your house, that's why. Well, now it's out in the open. Emmy's eyes are wide. She looks like she wants to bolt, but she doesn't. Ah, still on that, I see. What? You think I'm supposed to just forget about it? Threw me out of your house. We've been going on for almost a week pretending it never happened. I didn't see you bringing it up either, you know. I know, and I'm sorry that was the case. We have to address it or we'll just keep up this whatever it is we got right now. It's killing me to look at how you look right now. Did you know that? Those circles under your eyes and that distracted look in them. And I can't help worrying that I've caused it somehow. You haven't. Trust me. Well, I haven't helped either. I keep pushing you to tell me things you aren't ready to tell me. Maybe I was wrong to try getting your mother to help me out. But I've been so worried about you that I didn't know what else to do. Well, you don't have to worry about me anymore, okay? I think it's pretty clear we're not right for each other, so maybe we should just stop. Her face is twisted up as she says this, like she doesn't want to say it, but forces herself to anyway. You don't actually want that, do you? Heck, you can barely bring yourself to say it. Anyway, it won't keep me from worrying about you. I care too much about you to just stop on command. You don't want me to tell you what's wrong, that's fine. But I won't stop trying to help you, even if it's just standing by you. Stop saying that. She's shaking now. Now she looks at me. I can see she's afraid and frustrated and a million different other things all at once. I shake my head slowly and take a few steps toward her. You know what your mom told me? She told me that you never ask for help. Because you know that you're strong enough to get through anything on your own. But that's not the full story, is it? Her eyes go wide. She takes a step back. I keep going, because I think I finally figured it out. Sometimes I won't get another shot, but I've pulled it off for too long as it is. There's no harm in having someone help you, unless you're worried about needing help in the first place. You're scared, aren't you? Because of... I trail off, because I don't know for certain what happened to Emmy's father. I don't want to jump to conclusions. Well, never mind why, but it's okay to be afraid. You've been running from it, and for me, for so long. Even though you know eventually you have to turn around and face your fear, and I'm going to be there to help when you do. I won't stop, because I don't think you'd want me to. You can understand that sort of determination, can't you? I see that I've gotten through to her, but quickly falls back to anger to try to push me away again. Back on your white charger, Sal? Gotta help the poor cripple face her emotional problems. What do you know about me? And about what I've really already had to face? You think 2 months of learning to walk again was fun? But I did it. And after I did that, I had to... For a moment, it seems as if she's going to say something else, but she cuts herself off. And after all that, you don't think you can get past your fear, Emmy? Emmy, I can't fathom what you've been through. But to come through it, and still be the sort of girl that you are, well, it makes me think that you have even more strength than you think. So I'm not going to help you because I think you need rescuing. I don't want to be a knight rescuing the damsel in distress. But even knights help each other out, you know. I want to help you, even though I know you can do it on your own. For a moment, it looks like Emmy's going to break down completely, but she doesn't. Tears are down her face, but she stares at me steadily. Why are you trying so hard to help me? I'd say it because I owe you one for helping me out when we first met. But that wouldn't be the truth. The truth is, I just want you to be happy because I love you. Had I ever said that before? I've been in a relationship, and it's been pretty obvious that I love her, but did I ever actually speak the words? What did you say? I say it again, savoring the feeling of being able to say it at all. Being able to say it and mean it. Emmy seemed stunned. I said I love you, Emmy. I love you. Just you. And that makes me want to stand by you, no matter what you have to face. I'm wrapped in a fierce hug then, as Emmy begins to sob against my chest. I'm sorry. So sorry about everything, but I'm so scared, Sal. I'm scared of losing you, and I love you too, but I can't lose you. I'm so sorry. I hold her quietly, shushing her until she settles down. She steps back, a little more composed. Will you come with me tomorrow? Back to my house? There are some things I need to show you if I'm going to do this. Of course. Maybe next time we can leave together instead of separately. Emmy grins a sudden flash of brightness that seems more genuine than anything I've seen in the past week. Yeah, maybe. Lunch bell rings and I curse the universe's ports with the timing. Are you free tonight? We can talk more then, right? Emmy shakes her head. Sorry, Estelle, but I'm still helping the track team. But I don't think it would be good if we talked this over tonight. I'm going to be too tired to think properly, and I want to be able to tell you everything without screwing it up. You can wait, right? Even now, there's a bit of fear in her voice. I smile and rest a hand on her shoulder. Okay, I'll be waiting. Emmy gives a quick kiss before she heads for the stairwell. Thanks, Estelle. See you tomorrow morning. Wouldn't miss it. I head down the stairs with the feel of her lips on mine, suddenly aware of how much I missed that sensation. I have to remember to thank Rin for getting us to talk to one another. Although it's possible she wouldn't even realize what she's done. Still, if not for her, I doubt I'd ever been able to confront Emmy again. I guess I needed more help than I realized. Tomorrow, however, I need to stand alone through whatever Emmy's trying to work herself up to doing. I'll be up to the task, I hope. Katawa Shoujo. The morning sun is bright through my window, and the sound of my alarm quickly has me up and about. I slept surprisingly well last night, secure in the knowledge that at least I've got another chance with Emmy. If I keep myself from doing anything stupid, maybe I'll find out what's been eating her recently. I have a few educated guesses, but nothing concrete. And certainly nothing that I'm going to say to her. I'd much prefer to have her tell me herself. Although I can't help remembering the nurse's warning that I might not like what she has to say. Do I really need to know that badly? Yes, you do. What if there's something awful that makes me repulsed by her? Can I really say that I'm prepared to handle whatever she has to say regardless of what it is? Emmy said she wanted to tell me without screwing it up. What the hell does she mean by that? What's there to screw up? I suppose there's not much use worrying about it, though. I'll find out today. It occurs to me that I really need a run this morning to clear my head if nothing else. Emmy is waiting for me as promised, looking a little haggard, but otherwise bright and cheerful. Much more so than any previous day this week. Asao, you're late. I wave my hand dismissively. Nonsense, you're just early. Emmy grins back, and it feels like we're finally back where we should be with one another. Except now Emmy, not just me, wants to take another step forward. Although part of me worries that she'll back out at the last second. Hurry up and stretch, Asao. I don't want to miss the bus. The bus? I said I wanted you to come back to my house, remember? And I promised Mom we'd be there in time for lunch, so I wanted to hurry. Early start, huh? It's more for my mom's benefit than anything else. Ah, well that's okay. I unsuccessfully try to guess what Emmy has planned shortly before realizing that it doesn't matter that much to me. I quickly go through my warm routine while Emmy bounces impatiently from one foot to the other. She really does seem to want to get moving as soon as possible. Well, look at that, that's a new face. The run is over so quickly I can barely believe that I haven't fallen over dead afterwards. Emmy set a blistering pace, and I, in my foolishness, kept up with her. Well, until the last few laps. I just slowed down just in case. But I don't mind. And Emmy's waiting patiently for me when I finish. Patiently she can win, anyway. Finished? Good, come on! Grab my arm, she promptly rushes me down to the nurse's office. You seem in a hurry, Emmy. Trying to catch the early bus? Yeah, I told my mom I'd be back for lunch. Well, I'll take care of you first then. But Esao's gotta come with me too. The nurse raises a single eyebrow at this statement and peers at the two of us searchingly. Really? Today, huh? Emmy's response is a nod, followed by a surprisingly shy grin. Well then, I will make this quick. Emmy reaches the nurse's office, and I patiently wait outside for her to be finished, wondering just why the nurse seemed to be surprised by Emmy's declaration. I feel like I'm missing out on some joke or the significance of the day, beyond the fact that it is clearly significant in some way, of course. True to his word, the nurse has Emmy out of his office surprisingly quickly. I take her place after promising to meet up at the front gate. The nurse takes my pulse and listens for a bit. Your heart beats faster than usual. Been pushing yourself again, have you? Well, Emmy seemed in a rush to get through the run, so... I'm not surprised. Today is rather important to her, you know. I suspected that could be the case, but I have no idea why that's the case. She hasn't told you? Interesting. So you're not going to tell me either, then? No, I'm not. I suspect that Emmy has her own plan for explaining today to you, and I don't want to mess with that. We'll find out soon enough, so what's the rush? Now, as for your heart, I would take it easy the rest of the day. No spontaneous races or anything like that, got it? Got it. She won't have her running legs on anyway, right? No, but if you think something like that is going to stop her, good point. I don't think it'll be much of an issue today, of all days, but still. He's trying to reassure me he's doing a terrible job. I'm quickly becoming more and more worried about what today could be for. Like something finding out Emmy's in a cult or something. At the same time, if today is such a big deal and Emmy wants me to be with her for it, maybe she really does want to grow closer to me. Maybe this will be the answer to all the riddles, to the sleepless nights and the sudden mood swings. Either way, I barely remember to thank the nurse before taking off as quickly as I dare from my room to get a shower and throw on some decent-looking clothes. Today is important as it seems to be. I should dress appropriately. Emmy, of course, proved me wrong as soon as I reached the front gate wearing her usual shirt and shorts. So at least I know it's not a terribly formal affair, whatever it is. You're early, hissed Sal. Not as early as you. Eager, are we? Emmy cheekily pokes her out her tongue. The bus stop isn't very crowded this hour, which seems to please Emmy, and we end up relaxing a little as we wait. We sit in silence for a while, but I can tell that Emmy's trying to work herself up to say something. I don't have anything to say myself, so I sit waiting for her to talk. Doesn't take too long. So, I'm sure you're curious as to why the nurse thought it was so weird for me to be bringing you along today. I was a bit yes, but if you're not ready to tell me... Emmy stops my sense by placing a finger on my lips. Don't tempt me, Sal. I want to tell you this. But I'm not just uncertain as to how to go about it. I don't want to keep delaying or deferring. I just want to be able to say it. So say it. You know that it's not going to be going to be that easy for me, Sal. So treat it like running. Warm up to it with something small and easy and go from there. But don't go do it too fast, okay? I'm a patient man. I can wait for you to get to it. And he seems to consider my words, weighing them against what is probably a desire to get it over with. I will admit, as much as I keep telling Emmy to take her time, I wouldn't mind her getting it over either. But somehow I know that Emmy probably needs more time than the bus ride will provide to get it all out, whatever it is. Yeah, maybe you're right. The bus stop probably isn't the best place for this anyway. Just to make sure that I don't go back on my word, I'll at least say this. Takes a deep breath, lets it out, and after a moment says in a low voice, "We're going to see my dad today." The words hang in the air, and I can see that Emmy's afraid that I'll panic and disappear in response, which a part of me almost wants to do. But it would be stupid of me to back out, or to suddenly abandon the promise I made to be there for Emmy when she needs me. The nurse thought it was so weird for her to bring me along. She doesn't bring anyone along, or at least I'm willing to bet that she hasn't before today. The day seems to take on an even greater significance. What has it taken Emmy to even get this far? Ah, and why is that the best I can manage as a response? Yeah, I don't know what I should say. Nothing, I think. Just promise that you're going to come with me. Of course, you know I will. Emmy smiles wanly, looking a little relieved. Good. In that case, we better get going. The bus pulls up after a little after she finishes the sentence. Vague memories of my first trip out here come to mind as I set off the bus. But unfortunately, they're too vague to be of any use. I will be the first to admit that I don't quite recall how to get to Emmy's house, so I let her lead the way. She seems content to walk in silence, and I myself have no idea what I could possibly say. So the two of us arrive at her house, having said nothing since getting off the bus. Emmy's mother opens the door and doesn't seem surprised to see me standing next to her daughter. I suspect that Emmy would have phoned ahead to let her mother know of the change in plans. Emmy, it's Sal. You're just in time. Lunch is just about ready. Great. I was afraid we might be running late. As fast as you were going this morning, I doubt there was much of a chance of that. I certainly hope she wasn't too much of a bother as Sal. She has to get a little paranoid about being on time when food's involved. I hadn't noticed. This earns me a swat on the arm from Emmy, who, despite the serious nature of our conversation on the bus and the almost brooding, quiet walk, has quickly become cheerful again. Probably to keep her mother from worrying about whatever it is Emmy plans to tell me later. Mrs. Ibarazaki ushers us in, and in short order we're around the table devouring lunch. I hadn't realized how hungry I was until I got here, but for once I seem to be eating almost as much as Emmy. Goodness, it's a good thing I made so much. The two of you are acting like you haven't eaten in days. I skipped breakfast this morning. Me too. Had to catch the bus, I assume? That, and I figured you'd make too much food so it wouldn't matter if I skipped breakfast. Well, it's good to know that I'm unpredictable. Emmy nods enthusiastically and conversation falls off again as we very nearly clear the table of anything edible. It's a testament to the sheer amount of food on offer that we don't finish everything. I lean back in my chair with a sigh and thank Mrs. Ibarazaki for the food. I'm glad you liked it, Sal. Now, has Emmy told you where we're going? Yeah, sort of. Is it far from here? Not really, but we'll drive there to save time. It closes kind of early. I nod in assent and stand up ready to go. Well then, shall we? Mrs. Ibarazaki nods and leaves the room to grab her keys. Emmy, I notice, has started to fidget nervously. Second thoughts? Emmy smiles tightly at me and shrugs. She's fallen silent again, which probably means that I'm right, and she's starting to regret bringing me along. Not that I blame her. She does such a good job of shutting me out that I doubt it's easy to suddenly open up. Honestly, I'm worried that she's forcing it. But she said while waiting for the bus that I'm not supposed to give her a chance to back out, and since I promised to go with her anyway, I suppose there's not much of a choice. I can't go back on my promise, and she can't go back on hers. I just hope the both of us are up to it. We're off! My mother blows through the dining room, collects the two of us, and heads out the door at a brisk pace. Now I know where her daughter gets it from. The car pulls up at the cemetery gates, and I feel Emmy tense up beside me. I reach over and give her a hand, a comforting squeeze, which causes her to relax a little. Emmy's mother doesn't follow us, explaining that she prefers to visit the grave alone. Emmy steps through the gates and looks back, as if to make sure I'm still there. We step into the cemetery. I don't feel comfortable in cemeteries. Gravestones litter the ground, each one serving as a reminder that someone used to be alive and is no longer. How many died young? How many were as old as I am now? When do I wind up with a marker of my own? How much longer do I have left? The concept of not waking up, not seeing Emmy anymore, is not a happy one. It frightens me, and I very nearly turn around and exit right then and there. I don't want to go among dead people. I don't want to steal their stones and think about who they were or what they could have been if they'd only had more time. Then I look at the girl next to me, and my resolve returns. Emmy striding purposefully down the path, eyes clear, setting a pace that's very nearly a jog. The sooner we get there, I suspect she thinks the better. We're here. A gravestone, wholly unremarkable, is everything except for the name etched upon it. The grass has grown up around the base. Emmy's eyes are riveted to the stone. After a few moments, she turns around, looking surprisingly calm yet solemn. Pink's not actually my favorite color, you know. What? I'm warming up to it. Ah. People didn't think that pink's my favorite color. I think it's because I like strawberries, and even though those are red, they just assume that pink's the right color for strawberries. And that it's my favorite color, but it's not. People like to tell anyone otherwise, of course, and it's not the kind of thing worth getting worried about. But I'll bet even you thought pink was my favorite color. Blue, that's my favorite color. My mom and dad are the only two who know that, and now you do too. Thanks for telling me, I think. You're welcome. There's a pause as she considers what to say next, drawing a quick breath. I can't carry a tune to save my life. I can hum, but actually singing a song is something I've never been able to do. I don't mind, because I'm not a fan of karaoke anyway. Well, that's one potential day idea out the window. People all think that I'm a really popular and friendly person, but I only have a few close friends. Probably because I keep everyone in the dark, and I think it's also because I hate the idea of losing a close friend. There aren't many people worth the risk. I'm terrible at saying goodbye. I sometimes think I only run because it's what I used to do with my father. You're not my first boyfriend. I dated a guy for a long while during my second year at Yamaku, but in the end we broke up because I didn't want to get closer to him. He couldn't live with that distance between us. Her rate of speaking increases slightly as if she's rushing towards the finish line. I'm actually 1 year older than you. Everybody thinks I'm younger because I'm short, but I had to skip one school year because of my accident. They initially thought I was paralyzed when they pulled me out of the wreckage. I had lost my legs already, but they were afraid that I wouldn't even be able to use what was left of them. After surgery, it was clear that their initial assessment was mistaken. I couldn't feel my legs because of shock, short-term paralysis due to the other trauma I'd experienced. My recovery was one of the fastest they'd ever seen, or so they told me. I never found out if they were serious about that or if they told that all the patients learned to walk again. She pauses, gathering herself for one last effort. 8 years ago today, I lost my legs, and I lost my father as well. He died on the way to the hospital. I didn't even get to go to the gravesite until 2 months later, and couldn't attend his funeral. I'm so sorry. Don't be. That's what everyone always says, that they're sorry. I hate hearing that. Like anyone could have done anything to change what happened. You know the best piece of advice I got? These things happen. I don't even remember who said it, but I guess I didn't have anything better to say. But it's true, you know? These things happen. There's nothing you can do about it. They aren't necessarily planned, but they aren't always bad. They aren't always good, but they are. So I made a decision that I would live without worrying about the future, and to be sure that I never had to say goodbye again. I decided I wouldn't let people get close to me anymore. After all, they could be taken away at any time. And you know what? She laughed a little bitterly. Her eyes start to well up with tears, and I step forward to embrace her, but she holds up out a hand to stop me. I'm not finished. A deep breath as she continues. It worked pretty well until I met you, and saw that you were trying to adjust the stuff here, so I thought I'd help. But then you were so nice and I couldn't help it. The tears are flowing now, and she accepts the embrace this time. The rest of her sentences mumbled into my chest. I tried to fall for you, but I did. And then I tried to keep you at a distance, like with my first boyfriend, but I couldn't. I've been so scared because I don't want to lose you, and I might anyway. Yeah, I'm still around, right? Maybe I won't be forever, but don't you think it'll be fun while it lasts? Neither of us could survive the day. There could be a bus crash or something. But as long as I know that I've been with you, I don't think it matters. A sudden thought strikes me, and I can't help laughing. My condition had me scared of dying so badly that I immediately see the opportunity Emmy presented to improve my odds of living longer. But without Emmy, would there have been any motivation to keep up with my running? It hits me that Emmy is the reason I want to go running every day, so I can spend as much time with her as possible. Emmy looks up at me, confused. We'll go on living until we stop. When we stop living, we'll be able to know that at least we've had time together. And I wouldn't have it any other way, because I love you, Emmy. And right now, that's enough for me. Emmy smiles through her tears and steps back from me. You know, it's funny. What is? I thought that the best way to live in the moment was to do it alone. But now I don't think I'd have it any other way either. I'm glad I met you, Isao. Well, these things happen. Emmy said, Emmy and I stayed by the grave for a while, as Emmy pays her respects to her father. She's ready to go. We enter the graveyard side by side. Emmy's mother drives us back to Yamaku. The trip back is very quiet. We have goodbye as the car drives off, and I glance down at the girl leaning on my arm. How you feeling? Emmy shrugs noncommittally. I'll be fine. Come on, let's go. We pile outside the girls' dorm and I turn to face Emmy, ready to say goodbye. Why don't you come up for a while? Okay. The walk up to her room is in silence. Not sure why. I suppose I'd be turned away at the door. I guess I just assumed she'd want to be alone. Her mom, the nurse, everyone who knew the significance of today seemed to think it's best to leave Emmy alone. But she took me into the graveyard with her. Told me the whole story of what happened on the day she lost her legs. She wanted me around. The significance of this does not escape me. Emmy opens the door and steps into her room. Not even bothering to invite me in, holding the door for me expectantly. I step in, the door swings shut behind me. Hey, can I ask you a favor? Sure, can't guarantee I'll do it, but... Emmy giggles and pulls me into a kiss that starts out soft but deepens into something almost desperate. Stay with me, please. Her voice has dropped to a whisper. The question is barely audible over the sound of my own breathing. There's something about the way that she asks that question, the hesitancy in it, the quiet voice that makes me think she doesn't mean tonight. No, she means exactly what she said. Stay with me. What was that sound? What's this? Blah, 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 oh, apparently they're doing a lot of other things. I'm going to keep this up for now. Okay. Alright. That was kind of a shitty way to break the immersion for a little bit there. Alright. There's no such thing as forever. There's no limit to her request. There's just a request. The favor. Can I do that? Can I stay with her? Of course. We embrace again. Emmy guided me towards her bed, stepping backward with care until she sits down on the edge. Wow. I collapse next to Emmy, who almost immediately curls against me, smiling. For a while we lay in silence, savoring the feeling of being next to one another. Emmy is the first to speak. Hey, it's Sal. Thanks for coming with me today. I smile and plant a kiss on her head. Of course, my pleasure. Emmy snuggles closer and I can feel her breathing beginning to slacken as she begins to drift off to sleep. As she's about to fall asleep, she wakes up enough to mutter a single sentence. I love you, Isao. Then she's out like a light, leaving me feeling like I'm on top of the world. I draw the stomach on me as close as possible, pull the covers over us to keep the chill off, and fall asleep as happy as I've ever been. Is this even allowed? Katawa Shoujo. The morning light seems to delve further into Emmy's room than it does into mine. This results in my waking up earlier than I would have if I had gone back to my room last night, as had previously been our routine. I did not realize it until this morning, but this is the first time we've actually spent the night together. A small movement from my partner's still slumbering form caused me to look to the side. Hair splayed across her face, Emmy continues to sleep peacefully, curled up next to me. Something weird seeing her without her trademark twin tails, but it's also a look I could get used to. The small size of the beds here necessitates her curling up, but I'm pretty sure she would have done so anyway. The covers are nearly over her head, and I smile as the errant strand of hair causes her nose to twitch slightly. Unable to help myself, I draw her a little closer, a move which seems to think is a good idea. Her steady breath raises a trail of goosebumps on my chest, but I don't mind. I'm no longer tired, but I do feel a need to move from my current position. Emmy's warm body in response against mine is far too comfortable to move. I gaze up at the ceiling and consider how it is that we got to this point. We've been close for a while, but not this close. Seems like only yesterday that she ran into me in the hallway and after apologizing decided to take an interest in my well-being. But that grew into something else, which I at least was not expecting. One thing is for certain. Have you found Emmy? I'll try as hard as I can not to lose her. My morning musing is interrupted by further movement from Emmy. Her eyes flutter open and she seems briefly confused by my presence in her bed. Then she smiles happily and sits up, her face looking down at me. Good morning, Isao. Hi. Sleep well? Yeah, I did. Exhausting day yesterday, you know. Think back over yesterday's trip to the graveyard. Yeah, glad to hear you slept well. How'd you sleep? Well enough, although you kept hogging the covers. This serves me a shock and a stick-out tongue. I chuckle and Emmy giggles a little, and we fall quiet for a while. I start with the feeling of how right it all seems, waking up with Emmy by me, crammed into a bed made for one person. It's something I gotta get used to. Hey, Hisao. Thanks for sticking around. No problem. Saved me the walk back anyway, right? That draws another giggle, but then Emmy's expression turns serious again. No, really. I kept trying to push you away because I thought that was the right thing to do. And you stuck around through it all. I haven't made any of this easy for you, but you stuck it out anyway. So really, I mean it. Thank you. She punctuates this by giving me a kiss, pulling back and looking at me with an expression of affection. I reach up and ruffle her hair, smiling all the while. I'm stupidly lucky, I think. To have come through everything after my heart attack and to somehow have found this girl is nothing short of a miracle. You're very welcome, Emmy. I couldn't bear the thought of giving you up. I'll even continue to stick around if you want. I like that. That settles it then. I don't know how long my heart will keep working, and I don't even really know what I'll do after this year is over, apart from going to university. As long as Emmy's around, I think I'll be okay. I managed to help her, and she's managed to help me. If we keep doing that, we'll be okay, I think. So, Isao, what do you want to do today? Katawa Shoujo. Can you stand up for yourself? That's wonderful. And we actually finished it within the hour, too. Well, no, it's actually been an hour and a half. That was amazing. I love this. Don't really have anything else other to say than that. It's definitely a touching game, if nothing else. Gets you right in the heart. Adorable. Not much in terms of credits either. That's kind of nice. 4 Leaf Studios. Yay! Cool. What kind of extras are there, I wonder? I said I got like an ending, but I don't know. I'm guessing this is probably her true end, I'm guessing. Let's see. Let's look at the cinema. What do we have here? What is this? Oh. And he's dead. I'm guessing this is probably the point where we started a relationship with her, where I'm guessing this is probably like where the root began. How fun. Haha, shorty. Okay, that's where that comes from. So that's where we first got our first. And this, I think, was the intro. Four Leaf Studios presents Katawa Shoujo. And this was like after he had the heart attack and he's in the hospital, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'd love to do? I'd love to be able to actually put some voices behind this. I would actually love this. And I know Shizune would be hard to voice because Shizune doesn't talk, but... the first little heartbeat, too. What do we have here? Oh. 26% completion. What's this one again? Wait a minute, this is actually a thing? Well, I can actually go back and rewatch the whole story. No, I don't want to do that. Main menu. I'm just exploring now. Out cold, life expectancy, blah 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 blah. Lunch evaluation, meet cute. Hisao collides with a rampaging Emmy on his way to lunch with Hanako and Lily. Hisao has a peaceful lunch with Lily and Hanako. It builds character. Interesting. Shizune and Lily face off over budget requests. Wow, so much to actually put in mouth. What's this? Emmy drags Hisao to the roof to have lunch with Rin. Wow. It's Carnival! So it looks like I have, like, everything but one, it looks like. I wonder what this one is. I mean, that's pretty good considering that I only missed one. Then we got Hanako, Lily, Rin, and Shizune. Okay, so Misha and Shizune must be like one and the same. So it'd be Hanako, Lily, Rin, and Shizune. So I'm guessing if I go the, how would you get Rin, though? Hanako like would be an interesting one to go on, too, I think. That, interesting. Interesting. We got the gallery. That's where he tried to go and propose. Hanako, Misha and Shizune. Kind of wish that I could like go ahead and like keep hit like a button, just go through the whole thing instead of just going through like a little bit, you know. That's Hanako. All right. So does that mean there's like more stuff with Emmy that I should know about? I want to see what kind of achievement I got with this. Let us look into that real quick. I don't want this open. I want actual Steam open. Alright, let's go to Katawa Shoujo real quick. I want to see what kind of Katawa Shoujo. HIJK, Elemental, HIJK. Katawa Shoujo. I got Emmy's good ending. Reach Emmy's good ending. So is that like her best ending? Or was that like That probably wasn't even her true ending, was it? This is Emmy's bad ending. So I'm guessing that if I had gone the other way, really is a neutral ending. Hanako's bad ending, Hanako's neutral ending, Emmy's bad ending, Shizune's good ending, Rin, Lily, finish Shizune's Act 1, finish Rin's Act 1, reach Hanako's good ending, finish Lily's Act 1, finish Hanako's Act. So I guess I got the good one. Is there like a neutral ending for Lily? 17%. Interesting. I think I want to do this again sometime. I mean, like I said, I don't want to actually like do it with like I don't want to do it with like as a stream. I kind of want to actually do like some videos on it and add voice actors to it. I think that'd be kind of cool. But anyways, that's it for our little stream today. Yes, this was a very short stream. But anyways, if you want to go ahead and play this game, I'm going to put it in the link in the description because I think it's a game you guys should check out. Especially if someone's I don't know if it's I don't know if I should say it, but like if it's good for this, like especially if you're having problems. It kind of goes ahead and like makes you appreciate what you have, and that even though you may have issues of your own, that you're not necessarily alone out there, that you can find people that you can go ahead and reach out to and help you through your problems and stuff like that. Just yeah, you just don't have to face anything alone. And even if you do have a disability, it doesn't have to define you. It basically comes down to how you perceive it. Are you gonna are you gonna let it take you out? Or are you gonna go ahead and just let it go ahead and rule your life? Say, oh, I have no legs, I can't do anything. Well, Emmy has no legs, and she managed to go ahead and do just fine. She's the fastest thing on no legs. You can be the fastest thing on no legs too. Hisao has a bad heart. He managed to make some of himself. I think it also kind of goes over like the finite of life as well. That I think it's trying to say that you gotta like enjoy every moment you have while you're alive, because every day is a gift. Today you may wake up healthy and fine and stuff. The next day you could be in the hospital. That's just how quickly things change. So yeah, it was a good game. I want to do like some actual standalone videos on it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm glad we finished this. It was a good way to end the weekend, I think. And we'll go back to doing 5 games again next weekend. But I really just wanted to finish this. This was the focus. Now I can take it off my list of things to do on the wheel, and we can continue on with life. So thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys next weekend.